By early 1943, the North African campaign of World War II had reached its decisive stage. Field Marshal Erwin Rommel, the famed Desert Fox, faced mounting Allied pressure in Tunisia after a series of defeats in Libya and Egypt. Tunisia became the final battleground for the Afrika Korps, where Rommel attempted one last stand against overwhelming Allied forces before being forced into retreat and ultimately leaving North Africa. This article examines the strategic significance, the course of the battle, and the reasons for Rommel's final defeat in North Africa. Strategic context. The North African Campaign. Since 1940, the North African theater had been a contest between Axis forces, Germany and Italy, and the Allies, primarily Britain and later the United States. Rommel had achieved early successes, including the advance to El Alamein, but supply shortages, Allied reinforcements, and intelligence setbacks slowed the Axis advance. The fall of Libya. By late 1942, the Second Battle of El Alamein marked a turning point. The British Eighth Army, under General Bernard Montgomery, drove Rommel westward, forcing Axis retreat into Libya. The Allied landings in Operation Torch, November 1942, in Morocco and Algeria cut off Rommel's supply lines from Europe. Tunisia as the final battlefield. Tunisia became the last stronghold for Axis forces in North Africa. The terrain, with its mountains, valleys, and coastal plains, offered defensive opportunities but also limited maneuverability for Rommel's forces. German and Italian troops numbered around 230,000, facing a superior Allied force of over 350,000 men with air and naval support. Rommel's defensive strategy. Rommel sought to delay the Allies and inflict maximum casualties to buy time for evacuation or reinforcement. He utilized defensive positions in hills, ridges, and key towns, exploiting his knowledge of desert and mountainous warfare. The Axis forces attempted counterattacks, but shortages of fuel, ammunition, and reinforcements severely limited their effectiveness. Key engagements in Tunisia. 1. Battle of Kasserine Pass, February 1943. Rommel's last significant offensive in North Africa. Axis forces penetrated U.S. lines, inflicting heavy casualties and exposing inexperience in American troops. Despite initial success, Rommel could not capitalize due to logistical constraints and Allied air superiority. The battle highlighted the need for better coordination among Allied forces and the growing effectiveness of U.S. troops after reorganization. 2. Defensive battles across Tunisia, March-April 1943. Rommel conducted strategic withdrawals to more defensible positions in central and northern Tunisia. Heavy artillery, minefields, and well-prepared positions slowed Allied advances. Allied forces gradually encircled Axis troops, using coordinated attacks by American, British, and Free French units. 3. Final stand at Tunis and Bizerta, May 1943. Axis forces, under pressure from Allied encirclement, made a last stand near Tunis and Bizerta. Rommel's troops were exhausted, undersupplied, and outnumbered. German and Italian forces ultimately surrendered on May 13, 1943, marking the end of the North African Campaign. Reasons for Axis defeat. Allied numerical and material superiority. Allies outnumbered Axis troops and had better tanks, artillery, and air support. Logistical constraints. Rommel's forces suffered from chronic shortages of fuel, ammunition, and food, limiting operational flexibility. Allied coordination. Operation Torch and British advances from the east created a pincer movement, trapping Axis forces. Air and naval superiority. Allied aircraft dominated the skies, disrupting Axis supply lines and troop movements. Naval control prevented reinforcement or evacuation from Europe. Exhaustion of Axis forces. After years of desert warfare, Rommel's troops were battle-weary, and Italian units often lacked morale or training for prolonged engagements. Rommel's departure. Recognizing the futility of continued resistance, Rommel left Tunisia in March 1943, returning to Europe. His departure marked the end of his command in Africa. Leadership passed to General Hans-Jürgen von Arnim. Rommel's reputation as the Desert Fox remained intact despite defeat, but the loss signaled Axis collapse in Africa. Consequences of the Tunisian campaign. Complete Axis defeat in North Africa. Over 250,000 Axis troops were captured, including Italians and Germans. North Africa became fully controlled by the Allies, providing a base for the invasion of Sicily, Operation Husky, July 1943. Strategic shift in the Mediterranean. With North Africa secure, the Allies could launch offensives into southern Europe, accelerating Italy's defeat. Rommel's legacy. Despite defeat, Rommel's tactical brilliance in desert warfare remains studied by military historians. His North African campaign, culminating in Tunisia, became a case study in leadership under adversity. The Battle of Tunisia in 1943 was Rommel's last campaign in North Africa, marking the end of the Afrika Korps' desert adventures. Despite his skillful tactics and ability to achieve local successes like Kasserine Pass, overwhelming Allied strength, superior logistics and coordination led to Axis defeat. The fall of Tunisia not only ended Axis ambitions in Africa but also set the stage for the Allied invasion of Italy, opening a new front in Europe. Rommel's North African campaign remains a testament to the interplay of tactical brilliance and strategic realities, illustrating that even the most gifted commanders are bound by logistics, numbers and the broader scope of war.